Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Taking Up Space, a Michelle A. Mayer podcast. Always excited about coming forward, y'all. Today is no different. Today, I want to speak to aspects of angels. I want to speak to aspects of angels, and I want to speak to how all of this idolatry, idol worship, how we got really to where we are now, and what are our strengths? What are our powers? I did the podcast on Moses, and I touched upon Moses a little bit in the Bible study. And in doing the podcast, in reading the passage of Moses having the encounter with God on Mount Horeb, I took mental note during that creation of content to pay attention to that and double back to that. And that's what I'm doing today. Because, I expressed to you that this encounter Moses had with the angel of God at Mount Horeb reminded me distinctively of how the angels were created. I want to be abundantly clear with you on that. So we are strengthened in our knowing. We know what things are, how angels move, what they look like, what are their correspondences, what are their temperaments, what is their expanse in regards to their powers. And what we find in chapter 3 of the book of Exodus, verse 2, is it says, "And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed." So this is not a consuming fire. This is a self-regulating, conscious fire. A conscious flame. From what it's saying that the bush was not being consumed by the flame that was in the midst of it. So if a flame is in the midst of a bush and it's not consuming, it's fair to say that that flame is stable. It's just a stable flame. It does not move. It's not consuming anything. There is no smoke coming from it, because if it were, that would mean that it's consuming something. It's a stable flame that obviously is conscious, because it is being used by God as a portal to communicate a message from wherever God is to Moses. And the scripture goes on and it says that Moses said, "I will turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt." So it's been set in front of Moses to tweak his interest, to garner his attention. This is the fundamental aspect of God for all of us. God must first get our attention. In order for God to move in your life, friend, you've got to be paying attention to God. He must be able to grab your attention in some way. Whatever it is that you're doing, he can utilize that vessel to provoke your interest. And then once he has your interest, he can then lock in and convey his message to you. These are fundamental aspects. When we look at Abraham and we wonder, wow, why did God choose Abraham? Well, the Apocrypha paints a very vivid picture as to who Abraham was prior to him having this mighty encounter with God. Abraham, from what the Apocrypha conveys, was a very inquisitive individual. Abraham was looking for God in every walk, every step of his life. Abraham turned over every rock. He left not one rock unturned in his seeking the truth of God. And in Abram at the time, seeking God, God could lock in and use Abram. I'm going to go further. When we see this analogy or this statement of an angel of God coming upon Moses in the wilderness by way of a bush, in the image of a flame in the midst of a bush, it immediately reminded me of the way that these messengers, these angels, were created initially. And this is what drove me to create this content, because at the time of doing, expounding upon my podcast, my mind told me to take mental note of this. And something that I had saw earlier today drew me back to this. It shows in the second book of Enoch, chapter 29, exactly how these heavenly troops were created and what they look like. Chapter 29, verse 1, it says, "And for all the heavenly troops, I imaged the image and essence of fire." He imaged them. Remember, God created man in his own image. So we look like the image of God. Well, God is communicating here in Enoch, in the book of Enoch, second Enoch, that he imaged the heavenly troops to be like the image of the essence of fire. And it goes further. And it goes into how he created this fire from hard rock, from the chipping away of hard rock, from friction. Verse 2 of chapter 29. "And from the rock I cut off a great fire. And from the fire I created the orders of the incorporeal 10 troops of messengers. And their weapons are fiery, and their raiment a burning fire. And I commanded that each one should stand in his order." So they have hierarchical rank. They're all not the same rank. There's different ranks, and there's 10 troops. Okay? So, but the fundamental and the thing that I want you to get most out of this is that their image, their essence, when we see them, is fire. They are of fire. But they're not always looked upon by us as fire. This fire is an internal fire that burns, but some can project this fire outward, like we see with Moses having this experience at the burning bush. This angel would show itself as a flame, a single flame within a bush that is not engulfing the bush. So this flame is steady. And it is able to communicate telepathically to Moses. It's having a one-to-one conversation with Moses that can be uninterrupted, unimpeded. No other person can hear this conversation other than Moses. It's locked into Moses by what? Moses' attention. And once it has Moses' attention, now the voice of God can be used through this angel to communicate directly to Moses. Why do I say that all angels don't appear this way? How do I know that? Well, when we look at Gideon and the angel comes upon Gideon. If the angel were to have come upon Gideon in the form of a flame, Gideon probably would have bought in. He wouldn't have needed to have so many reassuring acts done to prove what the angel was saying is true and that this angel was of God. This angel would come upon Gideon like a man. This angel would come upon Abram and Sarah like a man. This angel will come upon Jonah like a man. I'll give you an example. In the testament of Abraham in the Apocrypha, it shows that these angels come in many forms. Surely they are of fire, but they can cloak that fire with other imagery. In the testament of Abram, it's very interesting. It is surrounding the transition of Abram. That's what this book is primarily surrounding. Abram has lived a monumental life. He has done righteous throughout his entire life. He has been extremely useful to God. And because of that, God is being very gracious and patient with Abram. Abram is being weaned to his transitory state, whereas most people are not. Most people, this transitory state comes upon them. They don't know what hour, what day, what time. It just comes upon them, and it is what it is. But with Abram, God sends messengers. He sends Michael, the angel, to him to kind of prep him for his transition. Yet Abraham does not want to transition. See, Abraham has lived a righteous life. And it will be conveyed in the Apocrypha by God that, Abraham has done well and done righteous by God. And so would the angel of God, Michael, convey this. But because of this, Abraham feels somewhat as if, or it seems by what is being conveyed in the text, that Abraham feels as if he should go on to live an endless life like Enoch. He doesn't want to transition. He fights it. And I'll read, but the angel Michael comes upon Abraham as a man. I'll read chapter 4 of the book of Testament of Abram. The Testament of Abraham, chapter 2, we see here. Verse 2, and behold, the chief captain came to him, and Abraham, seeing the chief captain Michael coming from afar like a very handsome warrior, arose and met him as was his custom, meeting and entertaining all strangers. And the chief captain saluted him and said, greetings, most honored father, righteous soul, chosen of God, true son of the heavenly one. So there we have it. This angel, Michael, the chief captain of all of the angels, the one that is created a fire, has cloaked himself in a human vessel and is walking in a field looking like an honorable warrior, coming to salute Abraham, this holy and righteous man, and he has no idea that it's an angel. Abraham, the man that has encountered many angels throughout his life, he does not know that this man is none other than the chief captain, Michael, the captain over the host of God's angels. And what we find is that this angel Michael would sit with Abraham, and he would be prepping Abraham for his transition. And Abraham would want to feed him like most men, at the custom of the time when you have a guest, you feed them. So in chapter 4, the angel Michael goes outside and he has a conversation with God surrounding what to do, because he's in a situation where he is sitting as a mortal man amongst Abraham, and it's customary to eat the food. And if you turn it down, it's kind of like, it's a negative. It's kind of distasteful for you to do such. It's dishonorable. It's disrespectful to not eat at someone's house. And so God tells Michael in verse 8 of chapter 4, and the Lord said, go down, chief captain Michael, to my friend Abraham, and whatever he says to you, that do also. And whatever he eats, eat also with him. And then it goes further. Chapter 10, verse 10, and the chief captain said, Lord, all the heavenly spirits are incorporeal, and neither eat nor drink. And this man has set before me a table with abundance of all good things, earthly and corruptible. Now, Lord, what will I do? How will I escape him, sitting at one table with him? And the Lord said, go down to him and take no thought for this. For when you sit down with him, I will send you a devouring spirit, and it will consume out of your hands and through your mouth all that is on the table. So this shows you just one brief way that these angels interact. These angels could literally be amongst you and you would never know it, friend. They look exactly like you. They're not you, but like us. And they do exactly as we do, befitting the environment. They don't give us any type of idea that we are amongst such heavenly beings. Abraham is the progenitor of the entire house. And he has had many angelic experiences. And he himself has no idea of who he is sitting before. So we see that, of course, these angels can come amongst you and look like a regular person. They can take on the image of whatever they need to take on that would be befitting the environment. They can be a nobleman. They can be a warrior. They can take on the face of a homeless person. They can take on the face of a beautiful woman. They can take on the face of whatever they need to take on to fit within the environment so that they are accepted. And most importantly, that they put people at ease and that they blend in. But that's not the part that I want to rest in. What are these attributes of these angels? In the book of Exodus, chapter 23, we see God having a conversation with Moses by way of an angel again. And he's telling Moses that I will send you another angel to do certain things. I'll read. Chapter 23, verse 20 of the book of Exodus. Behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies and an adversary unto thine adversaries. For mine angel shall go before thee and bring thee in unto the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works. But thou shalt utterly overthrow them and break down their images. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. And there shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in thy land. The number of thy days I will fulfill. I will send fear before thee, and I will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come, and I will make all thy enemies turn their backs unto thee. And I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before thee. And I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. By little and little I will drive them out from before thee, that until thou be increased and inherit the land. So, and I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee. So what I want you to understand is, in the reading of this, is that this particular angel that God sends unto Moses is an angel that will direct a path, but it is an accountability angel. This is showing what the Apocrypha speaks to in regards to the heavenly troops, all broken down in rank. It seems as if that this angel that God sends is at a different rank than the other angels. This is a very serious and stringent angel. This angel will not allow you to deviate in any way from the program. There will be cause and effect to everything you do regarding your walk as it relates to this angel. And God is warning Moses about it. He's saying, this leg of the journey is very stringent. You've got to do everything by the book here. I've given you the rules. You are well informed. Now you must show and prove. It's show and tell time now. You know the rules. It's not like you are ambiguous to anything. I have given you the facts. And now you must abide by the facts. And if you don't, it will not work out well for you. And how do we know that this angel is, how does God describe the fact that of the rank of this angel? He says in verse 21, beware of him and obey his voice, provoke him not. For he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. So that's very important for us to understand, is that this particular rank of angel has God's name within him, God's holy name that no man really knows. We think we know God's true name. We know an aspect of God's name. When you read and you look in the Apocrypha, friend, there's many names for many angels and there's many names for many beings. Enoch has many names. So wouldn't God? Would God entrust his most powerful name to everybody? No. We know how powerful naming is. When God speaks to Moses and says, who do I say sent me? God says, tell him I am sent you. But is that all? Is that it? Is God's name just Yahweh? Is that the powerful name, the almighty name? Or is that one of God's names? Is God's name Jehovah? You have people in this world that know nothing and that have no desire to know the heavenly realm. That know nothing about it, that have no desire to know, but they've heard of the name Jehovah. They've heard of the name Yahweh. And they'll use it in regular conversation. Do you think God would not know that? Do you think that God would know the lack of knowledge that the children would befall? Would not God put up buffers and safety blocks and nets and different avenues to protect his name? If you were a creator, are a creator, but you tapped into that aspect of yourself on an intelligent level, an all-knowing level, would you do such things to protect the most precious aspect of you, which is your rightful and your purest and most truthful name? Would you tell people variations of your name until you could trust that they could honor the integrity of knowing you and using your most powerful and truthful name? if God had to send his son to the world to be tortured, to redeem the world, and to get it back on track, just so that he could take the power back from those that were benefiting off of everybody defaulting to hell. Wouldn't he know to not allow his most powerful aspect of self to be laid bare by these people, at these people's feet? Wouldn't he know that? If you can't go directly to him in prayer, yet you must go through his son first, would he then say, I'm going to tell him my purest, most potent aspect, which is my name? These same people that I don't allow to come directly to me because they haven't risen and ascended to such a state to do so. What we're seeing here is a very important nugget of information. We're seeing aspects. We're seeing aspects of God. This God. I'll read it again. Verse 21. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions. For my name is in him. Now, God is telling Moses this about an angel that he will send before him to keep him in his way and to bring him into the place that he has prepared for him. This angel is like a buffer that I spoke to yesterday. It keeps you, I'm telling you, it keeps you on that straight and narrow. It don't play with you. It don't care nothing about what had happened was. It doesn't care anything about your feelings. It does not care, friend. I'm here to tell you. Many people think this thing is going to be a touchy-feely. You know, God is going to be looking like, while you're telling them, he's looking at you like this. That's what people think. I'm sorry, I don't want to laugh. But when you've come in and out of stuff, friend, I'm telling you. Yet scripture is showing you just a little bit. Just a snapshot of the temperament. I'm going to read it one more time. 21. Third time. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions. For my name is in him. And it goes on and it explains to Moses all the positives that come with this. because this is a tough walk. It sounds, provoke him not, listen to his voice, because he's not going to pardon your transgressions. You know this. And then you get to walking in and you're like, oh, goodness gracious. This is hard. Day in, day out, day in, day out. And you can't provoke him. You've got to do everything he says. Because you know the cost is high. The price is high. It's expensive, friend. I'm telling you. It's expensive. Money is cheap. Money is cheap. You get to see what money really is when you get in stuff like this. Money is a creation. It loses value immediately. You know what's valuable. And it ain't got nothing to do with money. Money will bow to that which holds the prize of overcoming this. Money bows to the one that can adhere and overcome while walking this. He who overcomes, I will put over the nations. You will judge angels. This is what Moses is being prepped for. And it's hard. It's tough love. Oh, baby. It's tough. And he will go on to tell Moses also, just like Hagar in the wilderness, and the angel comes upon Hagar and tells Hagar she must go back to them people. And she's like, oh my goodness. But then he immediately tells her what's in it for her. And what's in it for her, money can't buy. The level of greatness that is bestowed makes it worth her time. She goes back with a new attitude. She doesn't look at herself as the help. She's a partaker of a promise that none of them can do anything about. It shifts her perception. She's empowered. She's an inheritor. And no one can steal her inheritance. Same way with Moses. After he hears this, he tells Moses a set of things that he will overcome and what avenues he will lead him through. He says, no sickness will come upon you. I will overcome your enemies. You will not have any enemies to me. Everybody's going to have to bow down. Everybody going to have to lay down. Everybody. I will use the forces of nature in the form of hornets, which is somewhat using the impossible to make things possible. I won't do it all in one season. I won't be reckless. I will be methodical so that the balance is still there, so that when I drive them out, one doesn't overtake you. The cattle and the wild beasts don't overtake you. I will do them in increments. But he says in verse 24, thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them and break down their images. Now this is the part. Where did all of this image, idolatry, idol worship come from? Because we see this is a big deal with God. Do we understand what idol worship is? I'm going to break it down real quick as to what it is and how it came about. It surely began with the fallen ones. Surely. When they decided to come and make themselves manifest in this world as kings in this world, leaders of the world, before Babylon, but we really see this at Babel. Before Babel, they put their seed in the earth by way of Eve, corrupting Eve in Eden. They get a dog in the fight. They get their seed in the world. And then we fast forward to the flood. Okay, great. Then after the flood, boom, the Tower of Babel. Now, I told you the Tower of Babel was a ziggurat. It was like a step pyramid. It was a pyramid structure. It went up high into the sky. And what many people think the Tower of Babel was a place that the fallen ones used ingenuity in creating to open portals so that beings from other worlds could come into this particular realm. Prior to this, God had shut off all the portals. We see this happening before the flood. This is why it was so chaotic. But God shut off all the portals. Now we see the same technology being enacted at the Tower of Babel. This was the purpose of this. The Tower of Babel is considered the gateway to the gods. Well, what is a gateway? A gateway is like an entryway, a doorway, a place where beings, powerful spiritual beings from other realms can break on through to this side. It breaks through particular spiritual veils. But why would they do it? Why would they need beings from other dimensions to come here? Well, what they were looking to do was to gain power in the world. And this shows that they have certain levels of power only, that their power caps out at a certain level. But in order to do things that they wanted to do in the form of ruling within this realm as a powerful being, they needed help from other powerful beings that were more powerful or more insightful than they. So they knew that they had Adam's seed here. And they also knew that they had their seed commingled with Eve here. And that they had dominion over everyone because now everyone feels indebted to them because they are the only ones with knowledge. And that the people are cursed because of what they did in Eden. So the people are now broken. They feel defeated internally. They feel like I can't even go before God. I'm ashamed. We see this with Adam and Eve hiding from God in the garden, covering themselves. They're naked. They're hiding. They feel ashamed. They know that they have done something that has caused them to fall, that has caused them to be cursed. And they still need help. They need help even more now. They didn't really need help before. They were self-sufficient before, but because of the curse, they need help because they're in a new environment. They're adapting to new circumstances. And those things that would never attack them, the animals and all of these entities that would never attack them or would never try them before, are now able to try them and attack them because they've fallen. The whole hierarchy is different. And they need help. And who's there to help but these fallen ones? They have a level of knowledge greater than Adam and Eve. but less than God. And so the fallen ones know that they have control in this realm. And in order to get things done, these people have to barter things. They have to say, okay, well, let me go before the fallen ones and barter. I'll pray, I'll honor them. I will, give them my attention. I will offer to them. They do all these different things to these fallen ones for their protection. So the fallen ones solicit this. This is like having contracts with various businesses. Okay, I'll do this for you at this price point. If I'll do this for you at this price point if you say that you're gonna give me your business exclusively for 2 years. You get it in writing. You get a couple of good contracts. You can go to the bank, say, I got these contracts. These are all my contracts. I need a line of credit. I need a loan. I need this. I need that. And the bank will give it to you based on those contracts. They're doing the same thing, but in the spiritual realm. Because these spirits want to be housed in the body. So they go and solicit this ability within the spiritual realm. And they build this ziggurat, this tower, to send out a signal into the spiritual realm, opening portals so that spirits can come, making them powerful. And when the spirits come, they know the science of creating a figurine based upon God's creation, of how God created them and how God created us. We are walking idols, all of us. We are made in the image of God, and in God's likeness. God breathed his breath, the breath of life into us, which animates us. But we are righteous idols by God. God makes us righteous because we are emanations of God. We are rightful idols of God. These are unrighteous idols. These people that the fallen one's children are false idols. And also the figurines that they would make. And they would open the mouth of this figurine and allow the spirits of those that came in through the portals to inhabit these figures, giving them the ability to act and have power in the earth. And this is what God is telling the people not to bow to. There was enough of this going on, friend. Enough of it everywhere. It was highly prevalent. And this is what was going on at Babylon. Yet this Babylon situation has come and gone. But we still see a remnant of it within the world. Why? Because at Babylon, God comes and he says, you know what? This is the third time I'm having to deal with y'all. Adam and Eve, the flood, and now this. I'm not going to deal with you. I'm going to turn my back on you. And God has gone and he has made a covenant with Abram, and he has says, you will now go and serve all of these idols that you think are so great. And I'll see y'all later, because you're going to see how this all plays out. So when God is telling the children Moses not to bow to these people or don't let them turn you or any of this, he's telling him this because it is paramount in the world. It is paramount. The world itself has changed. All of the purity and all of that is out the window. These people are now on a cyclic journey to purge out and to come to terms with the truth of why these things are useful and why some things are not. These fallen ones came into this place and made it a comfort zone for themselves. They taught the women all types of things that would make them appealing to them. Things that they never knew of, things how to beautify themselves, how to dance in certain ways. All of this was for their luxury. It was for them to partake of. So they taught them highly heightened knowledge on things that were necessary for them to be entertained and to get the most out of their interaction with these women. And of course, the women wouldn't just use it in the entertainment of the fallen ones. The women that found out about these things would become a lifestyle for them, and their daughters would learn it, and their nieces would learn it, and it would just become a way of life. They would teach people metal crafting and how to wage war with one another, not because any other reason outside of protecting the regions that they had. They created their own armies because they all wanted dominion, and so they would war with one another. And they wouldn't war. They would be the kings and princes of these regions. They would teach Adam's sons and their sons to manage Adam's sons in the art of war. All of these things came about because they wanted to find comfort in this place. They turned the garden, God's idea, into their idea. So this is just my word for y'all today as to adding some clarity to these angels that we find ourselves being entertained with. Why? How they come about? How do they look? I'm here to tell you, there are many amongst you that are angels. They could be your help in your house, friend. They could be the gardener, the driver, your business manager. They take the form of whomever. Yet they watch and they see. A lot of times they play pivotal roles and you don't even know it. You have no idea. Your husband, your wife. I'm here to tell you. Nonetheless, this is my word for you today. You're loved more than you'll ever know. I'll never stop telling you. Be good to yourselves and be good to one another. Peace and love.